This is the Sioux Empire Podcast, episode 140. Andrew Kightlinger, writer-director of Tater Tot and Patton.
A pathless wilderness, wild, rugged, that was South Dakota. A hardy frontier, far from the paths of civilization.
Why die on Mars when you can live in South Dakota?
Where fortune beckoned with a glittering smile.
I was hauling pigs on the interstate. You were in a red car having a problem with your shirt.
And life hung on the quickness of a trigger finger.
Podcast Palooza. I thought you were going to say something.
The Sioux Empire Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another fantastic episode of the Sioux Empire Podcast. This is the Sioux Empire Podcast, the quirky but harmless podcast. It's all about Sioux Empire news, comedy, music, and culture. I am your host, Robert Mailing, and joining me as always is Seth Glover.
What's up, everybody? Let's talk some game time.
Woo! And also joining us is Natasha Burry. Hey, I got one.
You got it!
She just got married, last name change. And it's only taken me 6 months to figure it out.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm real happy about it. 6 months ago today.
And also joining us is, we've got Andrew Kightlinger, who is the writer-director of Tater Tot and Patton.
Hello.
And also joining us is a producer of the film, Adam Emerson.
Hello.
Nice to have you guys on the show. We will talk to you shortly here. First, we're going to slide into our It's Game Time segment, and then we'll go into the interview.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Time. So this week, I haven't been playing too many games recently, so I was like,
no.
I know, I suck at life, you know? So I was thinking, what can I talk about this week? And perfectly enough, my fiance just got us a Nintendo Online membership, and so with Nintendo Online, you get a access to a variety of different NES games.
Like what?
So, two of my top favorites are a Balloon Fight. I don't know if anybody else here had an NES, but
Yes, absolutely.
and Natasha had 4 because she must be just joking because nobody had 4 Nintendo systems. Back to the Future reference.
Nobody has 2 televisions.
I grew up in Africa. We had a stick and a stone that we played with. I'm just kidding.
It was a different place, yes. Different times, different place. And then the other one, so anyway, Balloon Fighter, you're a little dude that has balloons 2 balloons on top of your head that basically...
Fighting?
No, it's just to float. Like, that's the entire object of the game is to continue floating. There are these little birds that also have balloons above their head, and it looks as if you have like skis on.
Why do the birds need balloons?
Because that's the objective, is to pop the balloons and to knock the birds out before they do it to you.
But the birds are birds. They don't need balloons they already fly.
It was the NES, OJ was still a, good person, and different times.
And a fine actor.
Fun actor, more than that. Yeah, more than a good person. Fun actor. He was in Naked Gun. I mean, how could he...
You managed to pick an NES game I have never heard of, and I played the crap out of so many of them.
I've got another one coming up here that I'm really irked that, I don't know if anybody will ever hear about it, but we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
My other one would be Dr. Mario.
Oh, classic.
The Tetris-like, Mario game, basically, where you're just throwing pills at problems. It was a prelude to America.
Yeah, it was a dark foreshadowing of our future.
It really was. Get rid of the viruses with all the pills, and you'll be happy and feel good. They also have The Legend of Zelda, which is grand. you know.
Perfect.
They
Played the
have
crap out of that.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, Excite Bike,
Excite.
Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, you know. So there's a lot of fun games, but there is one in particular that's been missing from the online Nintendo library at least since the Wii. I had a Wii and I had the online thing there.
Yeah.
But they've never had the NES game Star Tropics.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you know it.
Oh, yeah. I got that one on my Wii.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That they did? Am I misremembering? And I was happy about that. They had it out on the Wii. Anyway, they don't have it on the Switch yet. Damn it.
Okay.
So they need to. But I don't think they ever had Star Tropics 2: Zoda's Revenge on the Wii.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
So it's got Nintendo. What I'm saying is that's one of my favorite games. I actually like it better than like the Zelda games for the NES. It's saying a lot, but Star Tropics was my favorite game until, you know, playing Ocarina of Time on the N64. Yeah. That's how good of a game Star Tropics is. I mean, you're a kid who's going around in a submarine. There's a time travel twist there.
I did not play this game.
It's so great.
It sounds fabulous.
It is, man. You're just floating around in a submarine, and then you come across this island,
good.
or yeah, dude, 20 minutes of sleep, 40 I don't know hours. It's a hard week, man.
I hear you.
Yeah, and then you got to find the little inlet in the land to where you enter. It's a lot of fun. In Zoda's Revenge, people get turned to pigs, and you have to, or boars.
I remember
and you have to reverse that. So like you come across these villages of just pigs, and you have to interpret their oinks. You have to be like, that dude said oink twice. That one said it 4 times.
I thought that pig was a little passive aggressive.
Yeah. That pig was, nervously pacing around that back room there. I think there's probably a trap door. So it was great, and more people should know about it. As much as I love the games that are currently on here, please do me a solid, guys, and get Star Tropics 1 and 2 on there. Oh God, it's such a good game. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get out there, was that Nintendo Online, it's very cool, but you guys are missing a few titles that would make me so much so happy. There are a few. I will go on to my randos that I ran into that are fun.
Yeah.
Solomon's Key is weird, and it's funky. It's kind of like it's a puzzle game, so play a level, do these weird things, kill these monsters, move this key, get the key, move on to the next level, do it again. Solomon's Key is that one. And Adventures of Lolo, I'd never played before, but man, who knew you could have so much fun being a blue ball?
Yeah, I don't associate blue balls with fun.
You don't, but after a little Lolo...
Jesus Christ.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that wasn't planned, but it worked out. They do have Metroid on here, so that's pretty cool, too. I didn't play that one all the way through, so I can't, say that I loved it or anything, but, yeah, so... get out there and you younger kids, you just
learn your
spoiled.
basics.
Exactly. Learn your roots.
What's the service cost, just out of curiosity?
So it's $19.99 for a single person, or $35 a year. This is annually.
Oh, per year.
Annually.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Oh, totally.
I was gonna say, if it's $19.99 a month, it's like, ugh.
No, I'm not spending $240 on Nintendo fucking NES games for a year. But no, $20 will get you set, and $35 if you have if you have a couple switches.
Cool.
When I figure out how to add my account to that, link an account to it, I'll get back to y'all. But
sure.
I don't know. But yeah, Nintendo baby.
Sounds good. And with that, I think it's time to move into the interview. So, Andrew, Adam, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy promoting schedule here to hang out with us and talk about Switch games.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you guys have some stuff going on too.
One or two things.
So tell us a little bit about Tater Tot and Patton.
Where to start? Well, we do have I wish we could say we have like a Tater Tot and Patton video game coming out. You know, I always like those movie to game adaptations. Remember
Like Mortal Kombat?
Back to Future.
Yeah.
Back to
Like
the Future,
Mortal Kombat.
rather.
Yeah, the really random ones like I played the Minority Report one.
Oh, man.
Yes,
That's cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
I totally know what you're talking about.
Two people.
Two
played
people in
that
the
game.
world.
Yep,
Including
that was the
myself.
other one. I definitely didn't finish that one either.
I
but-
can never find because I had a friend that had it, the Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the Kevin Costner
Yes.
Robin Hood movie, that had an NES tie-in game that was like bonkers, and I loved that game because it's like there was like the regular exploring mode, and then there was like combat mode where you sword fought, but it was like you were fencing like with your sword out like on guard, like not at all like anything like in the movie.
Straight up
You're, like,
highwayman tactics.
Yeah, and you're like jumping up on top of tables and stuff like that. Well, it's just like okay, we clearly just slapped a brand on whatever the hell this is.
Our video game tie-in is just it's Jessica Roth having to shovel cow pies, and the goal of the game is how many cow pies you can get into the back of a truck, and that's essentially
And then the bonus is killing rattlesnakes.
killing rattlesnakes. Is
So it's kind of like my
Honestly-
childhood, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds like it could be a breakaway like Flappy Bird. I think you guys should follow through with this.
Get the mobile developers on that.
Yeah.
And it's based on the plot of the movie, which is about a city girl who escapes to her uncle's ranch in central South Dakota, and unravels his lonely booze hound life. And and the movie sort of takes the very classic trope of the city girl going out to the middle of nowhere, and then we try to deconstruct it a little bit and do a little bit more with that idea than you usually would see in that type of movie. So a new shot here.
That's
and made
really
by
cool.
people from here, which is why we're on this podcast. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, and you guys are doing basically a screening tour with it here in eastern South Dakota. Here, you've got screenings in. I know Huron because I spotted that because that's like close to where I'm from.
We're calling it the Tater Tot and Patton Road Show.
There you go.
If we were screening on 35mm, it'd be a road show, but it's a digital. We're starting. Yeah, I know.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, like
Really?
Tarantino does road shows with his movies still, and he goes around and shows his movies in 35.
Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino.
Okay.
Yeah. Not us.
Right.
Unfortunately. I don't think we could afford to transfer to 35.
Just one, and then we're out of money.
Yeah. There's the whole budget. No, so we're starting March 8th. We play in Pierre, Sioux Falls, Mitchell, Huron, Brookings, Spearfish. We do have one West River location.
Okay, nice.
And we play for a solid week.
Mm-hmm.
If we do well and people show up to these screenings,
Yeah.
we can hold over another week. So we hope people will go out and see it. And then on the 15th, we start in Aberdeen and Watertown for a week. And then we got some specific, like Sioux Falls is a little wonky. We're showing at the Cinedome.
Yeah.
So we're only doing it over a weekend.
Sure.
That's just a unique marketing choice, I
Yeah.
suppose. The movie was not shot for an IMAX screen, but
But it does have, like, from what I've seen, it's got like some sweeping South Dakota
it's got
landscapes.
vistas, yeah. So it'd be kind of fun to show an indie film that really mostly is people going through emotions and a lot of close-ups of faces on a big screen like that. But once in a while, the movie does open up and there's sweeping shots of buffalo and all kinds of fun things. So yeah, so that was just mostly a very unique venue to show it in, and it's in the middle of the city, and it sort of makes it more event type, in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Century said no to us. So
and that's it.
they have all kinds
We were
of
forced to,
rules.
really.
Comma.
No. Century requires your movie to have an MPAA rating in order to show there. Yeah, and that costs a lot of money to get that stamp of
Just
approval.
Another logistical step.
Yeah.
It's faster just to do it than it all.
Yeah.
Don't forget Mobridge.
Oh yeah, and we're doing one night only in Mobridge, South Dakota, March 12th.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I'll be showing up for Q&As throughout the week.
Oh, nice.
At all these events, so driving about 1,900 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a lot of driving. That's a lot of driving in this weather,
Yeah, we'll
right?
see how that goes.
No.
Yeah.
It won't snow anymore. It'll be fine.
As my parents very helpfully in a phone call yesterday pointed out, a phone call, mind you, from their winter place in Texas, pointed out to me, but March is the most snow-heavy month of the year for South Dakota. I'm just like, thanks, guys. Thanks for that reminder. I need that sort of Damocles hanging over me. Thank you.
Please. Did they call you only to tell you that, or was there other?
There was some other stuff, but they made a really big point of like, well, you're because all my siblings are still around the farm and stuff like that,
sure.
and out in that part of further, by Huron and stuff, where they've gotten a lot more snow than we have here even.
Yep.
And so they're just getting, I'm sure over the phone, they're just getting inundated by kids and grandkids' stories of snow from all of them. And so they're just like, they're talking to me and it's just like, they might be in trouble out there.
I can picture it, just your dad calling, Rob, this isn't a social call. You've got weather coming, boy.
Yeah, that's a very farmer thing to be like.
Yeah, they got the Weather Channel down there in Texas.
Yeah, like with my grandpa Robert out West River. That's what is it they say that with farmers it's like they're the only group where when someone wants to talk to you about the weather, it's not small talk. They they talk about it the way other people would talk about like their business.
That's a good point.
That is true.
So speaking of, like rural areas and farmers and stuff like that, what was the inspiration for this particular story? I know you originally born in Africa and
I was born and raised in Madagascar.
Yeah.
And my father is originally from the Selby area.
Okay.
So that's where his family and all that
South Dakota.
Hence
Selby,
the
South Dakota.
Selby,
Yeah.
South Dakota, yes. So hence the thing. And so we moved back from Madagascar when I was about 12 and moved here, and I consider South Dakota home because I'm going into middle school, which is where Adam and I met, and ended up producing movies for a long time, probably in the future. Maybe. Do you want to do that anymore?
When I'm in the middle of producing, no. But right now, absolutely.
Adam, I didn't want to freak you out or anything, but let's shut the door. This is actually an intervention.
All right.
We've invited you here
Well, I knew this
on
was
behalf
coming
of Andrew to let you know. Yeah.
Lightly, one of my goals with the movie was to definitely use the landscape as a character, because I think that South Dakota is very unique in that sense, that it's a very kind of, lack of a better term, a kind of virgin territory in a way. It's the American frontier, and a lot of that still looks like it did back in the day. And I think that's really special, and I hope it never changes. So I just desperately wanted to make a movie in that location, and I wanted to transport viewers into that feeling that I get when I stand in the middle of the prairie, or you break down on the side of I-90 and you have to stand there for a while like, oh, this is isolating. But then eventually isolation gives way to thinking, and the thinking gives way to hope. So that's another thing too, is that the horizon line sort of represents, it's a tandem metaphor for the isolation of grief and loss, which is a theme that's explored in the film.
Sure.
And at the same time, beyond the horizon is hope. So the theme, the landscape in South Dakota in general is a location, just plays into that relationship between this uncle and niece that are both going through very dark things, and eventually together find a way to rise out of their personal ashes.
Very cool.
But that was a succinct enough answer for that.
Yeah, that's
straightforward.
That was excellent.
I want to see it.
Good, you should.
I think that the landscape really is a a huge value add, though, that you don't really have to pay extra money for. I think a lot of it boils down to practicality. You add a lot of value to the screen just by the vistas that you get in South Dakota.
Unless you're trying to like show off, and then you just tell them, "Oh yeah, that's all green screen work. That's all.
right.
That's all CGI."
You know, some people actually accused the movie of having CG in it because the clouds, South Dakota clouds, are so unique.
Oh yeah,
and the clouds look so fake in some of the shots. People are like, "Did you CG those in?" I'm like, no, that's the sky that day.
Just what happens. Yeah, that's Tuesday.
Yeah, there's a shot at the end of the film where the two characters are looking at this. One symbol in the film that was important to me was a single tree, because in a lot of places there's just a tree in the middle of nowhere. And it's like by a stock dam, and somehow it survived lightning strikes. And there's a single tree, and the characters are looking at it, and we shot it around sundown, so just this beautiful shot.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, was that a matte painting? Did you guys like paint that? And like, I'm like, no, like you can go out and find the stuff in nature. That's the thing in Hollywood now, though. They just shoot everything on a backlot and a green screen and just make everything fake. Everything's fake.
And then you see it without the CGI work, and it just looks like
just an actor on a box.
Yeah, it's just people
talking to a ping pong ball on a stick.
Green pajamas, running around. Good for them for still being able to act at that point.
I know, I went to Juilliard for this.
It's fine art.
I forget what movie or clip or meme or whatever it is where it's like Ian McKellen is sitting there at a table as Gandalf, and like everything else at this like table where he's having this conference is just sticks with balls on it, and just kind of like it's like this is what it's come to, huh?
So Ian. Sorry.
Yeah,
a great clip of
extras, I think. Right?
Yep, that's right.
Oh yeah,
Ricky Gervais.
Ian. Who shall not pass?
Action shall not pass. Cut. Syrian.
I've never been to Madagascar, but if I think even if I had, or starting from South Dakota, I wouldn't even be able. I would never think that a person would gain notoriety from the land of South Dakota as opposed to like any land in Africa, because coming from this side and never having been, it just seems like that's just such a more exotic, beautiful, rich landscape. But no. South Dakota is actually pretty unique, even in America, unique for anywhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when I live in Los Angeles now, which is a double-edged sword. I miss South Dakota greatly. And when you tell people that you're from there, the first thing they say, and I kid you not, is I've never met anybody from there.
Yeah. And
it really is this like far-flung thing that they just never can't even fathom. Like Mount Rushmore is like going to Machu Picchu for some people,
Yeah.
I actually think it's kind of cool.
Actually. My one prolonged trip there in the 90s, it was just like you'd say South Dakota, and they're just like, so that's Canada, or is that the U.S.?
South Dakota, Canada.
Yeah. South of Canada. Yeah.
But I just remember people being like, I might as well have been like the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, but most people don't. Most people don't believe me because I do kind of I grew up in two very extreme places, depending on how you look at it contextually. Like, I'm just like, I guess.
Hey, man, it's for anybody that's in South Dakota right now, this is an extreme place, all right? There's too much snow. Extreme. The snow is, stories high now. Traveling in March. Here's to it.
I apologize in advance to all listeners for canceled Q&As. I'm kidding.
Hopefully, you won't have to deal with that too much.
You'll be fine.
Nah, it'll be good.
Got some good tires.
Still turn my own words against me.
Got some all-wheel drive.
Director's phrase from our own films.
It's fine.
It'll be fine.
That's the thing. Whenever there's a crisis that pops up, I'm like, it's fine, which is like the most patronizing thing I could ever do.
It's probably the best attitude, though, and the best approach to take, honestly, because
to an extent, there's legal repercussions to saying it's fine.
And that meme of the thing sitting in the fire.
Yeah.
I forget what that's from.
Oh, it's fine, dog.
Yep.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay,
this is fine.
That's me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm the one who puts the fires out.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's the guy who pulls you from those burning wrecks.
Well, I'm always fine.
I was fine. It worked out fine. It's like it did for you.
Yeah.
What's that from, the Burning Firedawg?
I don't know where it was originally from. I've only ever seen it as a meme.
Just deep interwebs.
I feel like it's, some Adult Swim thing or something, but...
Maybe. I mean, I feel like there's a dog-like character on some... Yeah, maybe.
I know it's used a lot on ops, like for software engineering and support operations when everything is breaking, all your systems are falling apart. You gotta kind of act like we're doing well. Things are well. The customers are happy, and
It's not a bug, it's feature.
that's right. It's just an undiscovered feature.
Yeah. So no, exotic places.
Well, and that's what was nice about shooting in the middle of the summer. At least you didn't have to worry about the snow.
Yeah, I mean, that was a calculated effort. There were some people
say-
who suggested, why don't you shoot in winter? It'll be that much more isolating. I'm like...
There's a reason that Giants in the Earth ended the way it did. Right?
Yeah.
We're not shooting this film in the winter in South Dakota.
Yeah, no. It's not the Revenant. Sorry.
The weather, though, was it pretty cooperative for you for that summer?
Shockingly, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think shooting... We had this weird... Because we shot in September, and we had a weird... Number one, there were really bad fires on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah.
So that was... It's awful there, but for us, visually, it was nice because there was smoke traveling across the country, and it filtered through the sunsets, and the sunsets are that much more violent. I know it's not a double A. It's not like a silver lining of just
What's the apocalyptic David Totten?
Yeah. But so that was right. And we never really had. No, there's some storms, but the storms we used to our advantage, and there's only one day where it poured rain, and otherwise it was just great the whole time.
Lucky.
That's the horrifying aspect, especially for indie films. You don't have a day that you can just say, we lost that one, we'll do another one. Because every day costs so much money, and you've only got contracts for your crew and your actors for so many days. And most of them are, they've got other gigs, so they need to move on, or you got to renegotiate a lot of stuff. It really is a pain. So we were super lucky. The only storm, actually, was during pre-production, like a day or two before we started shooting. There was just a massive
Just to make you
hailstorm.
nervous.
Yeah, exactly. And the producers, so our roof got wrecked during it. It was like, naturally, of course, this is what's going to go on.
Yeah, our production design car, remember, his windshield got shattered and all this. It's. I think the biggest force majeure thing that we dealt with, which I guess we threw ourselves in, was rattlesnakes and shooting.
You what? That's not a force majeure thing. You brought a rattlesnake to the set for a scene.
Did you tell anybody about that before?
Yeah,
we had trainers, and we had.
He made it sound like, and he just showed up.
The FedEx guy in Pier, Ben Smith is also a snake hunter. And he goes around the country.
Trained animal handler.
Yeah, he goes all over. I like how he's prefacing, he's trained.
It's not just the title he gives himself.
A rattlesnake.
Yeah. He's not just a guy with a tattoo and a cigarette in his mouth that I can handle snakes.
He has those as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not as qualifying.
Sure.
I've never seen him without a Miller Lite in his hand. But he and Kirby showed up. And Ben has rattlesnakes frozen in his freezer in his garage, and he revives them. Do you know that rattlesnakes can fall asleep and then fall?
They'll do that if you freeze them right.
They're actually doing right now, right? They're not.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just think it's funny that. Oh, you're not a rattlesnake guy?
I'm not a reptile guy.
A reptile, yeah. So we had these big snakes that they brought in boxes that had skulls on them that said "Danger Snakes."
Painted all red.
And then brought them out with the tongs, and then we shot a scene with the lead actress who's very cool about doing this scene. And of course, me being maniacal, I wanted an unbroken take to show that she actually was with the snake.
And there's no Indiana Jones reflection going on there. There's no glass in between them.
Yeah, so it was just we could have done that, couldn't we? No.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we could have done.
And she's hanging over this truck bed, and the snake's on the ground, and I remember after shooting that, Adam leans over, and Adam's like, "You realize that snakes can jump, right?" And I'm like,
they could strike.
And I'm like, "Shh."
If they're coiled up and bouncy, then you're like, once they're just kind of chilling, they're not exactly ready yet.
But anyway, we got what we
just
wanted.
things that I might know that might be true.
We got what we wanted.
Yeah. No.
There's a few things I can't be. I can't be the queen of pop, and I can't be an actor because they both, deal with snakes.
That's a good point.
Brittany.
Yeah, I gotcha.
There's a good Venn diagram that I hadn't considered.
Yeah. People that work with snakes, also stripper. Can't be a
That's the
stripper.
third circle.
Yeah, there.
I think that, in working with a lot of actors, I think that it's a unique job that probably is just wildly underrated, especially for once we're good at it. Just because I've seen some actors prepping for really important scenes and they can't get it. And they can't get where they need to be, and then you start rolling and they're still not where they need to be, and they know they're not there, especially if they're a good actor or actress, and they know everybody here is waiting on them. There's an army of people all watching you, and we need this to work, and we're all here, we're all set, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
See, that's something I've never been on the set for a film like that, and it's something I hadn't thought of, but now that I'm thinking about it, just from from doing audio drama podcasts and the little bit of theater that I've had barely experience with, I'm just kind of on a movie set, you would literally have, everybody watching you, okay, is this going to be a good day for me if this asshole does the thing they need to do,
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's pressure.
There's and this movie was mostly a two-hander, which made it very intimate, and we had a lot of scenes where it's them sitting at a dinner table. The movie's not that boring, but there are some dinner table scenes. It's the whole movie. Come see it in IMAX.
Look at the size of that salt.
But there's a scene where there's a revelation, and it has to be dead quiet, and we're in a house with old wooden floors, and there's 15 people surrounding these two actors, and this is just an excuse for me to tell a fart story, but and these actors are the lead actor was like, can we have nobody talk between takes? And I think that was a great rule too, just in general, when we're doing heavy scenes, no talking. We say cut, everybody everybody resets, sound guy resets, all that stuff. Let's reset all the props. Nobody talks. We just keep the mood at a certain level. Now this actor, Bates and Jessica, Bates had to eat beans over and over again in this scene. And he had to eat beans a lot in this movie. All the time. And he said, someday I'm going to get my revenge on you for making me eat these beans over and over again. He's like, well, you don't have to eat the beans. He's like, well, I'm acting and I want to be in character. I'm eating the beans. And one thing that I do as a director, I'm not a Video Village guy. I like to kind of be in the shit with everybody. So I was always crawled underneath their chairs. So whatever actors close-up was, I'd be under the other guy's chair, with my monitor watching. So for Jessica's close-up, I'm underneath Bates's chair, and I like to touch the actors too. It's weird, but not in a Me Too way.
Yeah,
On the level. I always get their consent, but just to let them know that I'm there, and that
in a very acceptable section of the body.
That we're protecting each other, all that stuff, artsy fartsy crap, and I'm right by Bates's posterior, and I'm sitting there, and we're in the middle of a take, and I'm watching my monitor, and I'm focused, and Jessica's acting, okay, action, she's acting, and it's a scene where they're talking about, really intense stuff, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I hear, and he's just farting right into my nostrils, and it's just refried bean farts. And I'm sitting there, and she's doing such a good job that I can't do anything about it. And I refuse to yell cuts. I'm just holding my breath, and it's a long unbroken take of 2 scenes of dialogue with lots of pauses, and I'm like, and I finally cut, and just crawl away from there. He knows, and he's such a great actor. He keeps his composure and just looks back at me with this evil look. I got you. My revenge. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So,
And didn't know all that detail. That's really good.
Yeah, he did a good job.
That's fantastic.
It's a good revenge tactic.
Were you the guy that bought the beans? Because good job.
He did put it in the budget, the line item.
Part of the budgeting, absolutely.
So yes, they got their revenge.
Fabulous.
Very nice. I think, yeah.
They took the vengeance out of me for a bunch of things. Like, another thing we did was remember the banana peel pile? I wanted a lot of flies everywhere. Because it's a ranch and I wanted flies all over.
I was going to say, that's not that hard in that part of South Dakota.
No, so I just took a bunch of bananas and just dumped them like a week before shooting on the driveway.
That'll do it.
Yeah, and then there was probably too many flies everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're doing all these silent scenes and and there's like audio, and because I have the sound guy was always in the truck with them, I would hear them bitching about me. And Jessica, like, I get that it's his art and his process, but I don't understand the fucking flies. Like, I don't get it, and I'm just like, ee.
I should have been in that truck with them.
Oh, you? Yeah, I would have been furious. Oh, no.
The idea we're just going to leave all these, because the house was completely, the house that we were using on the land that we were using was abandoned, semi-abandoned. It had been rented for the previous maybe a few years, and then it just hadn't been rented for a year or so. So if you know anything about winterizing houses,
oh yeah,
just the age. They're still a fine house. It looked great. It worked really well for everything we needed, but they hadn't manicured, of course, the landscape because it's out in the middle of the West River, and everything was all covered in weeds all the way up to the driveway.
Yeah, nature takes it back fast around here.
Absolutely. And Andrew's initial reaction was like, this is great. We're just going to leave the weeds up, like he's not taking care of the house because he's depressed. I'm like, this is the Rattlesnake center of North America, and you want all the actors and the artists just trouncing through the waist-high weeds as they walk up to the driveway. It's like, no.
I remember you forced me to mow the backyard.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, like, because the thing is, when your sound guy gets bit in the leg by a rattlesnake, and now you don't have sound, like, you're not shooting anymore.
Did you have someone get bit?
We absolutely did not. Okay. Nobody got hit by any rattlesnakes. And the thing about having Ben, the rattlesnake handler, on the set is that he also walked us through, like, common safety, awareness, situational awareness for rattlesnakes, and just general awareness for animals out there. But rattlesnakes was the biggest one because it's
What's the first thing you do after being bitten by a rattlesnake?
Tweet about it.
And that's the danger, right? That these artists are going to be like, oh my god.
Oh my god, I got a selfie with my swollen leg. Oh my god. They're amputating it. Oh my god. Hashtag amputated.
Oh.
Either that or they'll come out with a documentary with it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get the what is that documentary about? The adaptation of the Island of Dr. Monroe. That's
I love that document.
Like something.
The Island of Lost Souls.
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
Oh, a great documentary. You're gonna get that treatment because everybody's gonna have like rattlesnake bites. Like
that's the one where the director is fired from the movie, and then goes undercover as an extra under makeup to make sure the production's not being derailed.
So yeah, because like he like rents a house just a few miles down the road from a movie he's been fired from. And so, yeah, and there's shots they show in the documentary of, like, Brando, where the pig guy in the background, they're like, this is, because of the shirt, is, like, this is definitely the, like, fired director standing behind Brando in a pig mask.
Wow, I feel like you would do that.
What? Maybe. I do hope I get to do Dr. Island of Monroe.
And then get fired from it?
Get fired from it, yeah.
Well, that's kind of the story, right? It's a dynasty.
By then, Val Kilmer will be in Marlon Brando phase. So.
There you go.
Full tilt.
By then.
The cycle will be complete.
Okay, so don't call you guys for snake bite advice. Got it.
Wait, what do you do?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What do you do if you're actually, but you need to get to emergency services immediately?
Yeah, no.
That's because Natasha, what do you do?
Anything but
what do you do if you're bit by a rattlesnake?
Well, I've never been in that particular.
I know, but you're from West River. I assumed you'd like.
To be honest, I think I am CPR certified. So I think the first thing is call 911. Or, well, not if you're out in a remote area, you're going to want to rush them to the hospital.
You need to get to
Yeah, so you're going to want to get yourself transportation to a medical center. And
do you still tourniquet? Because I think because they changed that at some point.
They say right now, don't mess with the poison, don't tourniquet. Get to emergency services now, because you're not qualified to do a tourniquet. Like, you're gonna cause a laceration. You're gonna cause the poison to go the wrong direction or something like that. Like,
yeah, that was minor, because it's like when we go camping along the river, which has West River rattlesnakes swimming over. Yeah. That's always fun to find in a boat.
Oh, jeez, that's awful.
We had all of our first aid kits have tourniquets in them. They're all from circa 1989 or something like that. So they're snake bite first response kit with tourniquets, and I'm just I don't know if I trust my dad to actually put a tourniquet on someone. That's
not that hard.
You wrapped it around the neck.
Yeah, right. I got bit on the head.
Protect the brain.
Right. I was thinking of the most important organs.
How did you die?
Asphyxiation.
It's really
but not rattlesnake bite.
You can't tourniquet all things, no, but just on limbs. You can tourniquet a limb.
My only close encounter with a rattlesnake was one of these camping trips out there to the river. Everybody, the fishing sucked that year, so everyone decides they're going to go on a shopping trip and get food and stuff like that to Pier. I've got a novel because I'm a total nerd in high school, and I'm just I'm just going to sit in a lawn chair here by the camper right on the beach, and I am going to read all afternoon and not get up even for a bathroom break apparently or something, anything like that. So they leave for the day. Basically, I'm in that chair probably a good chunk of the afternoon just reading. And as soon as they get back, I get up out of the chair to greet them or whatever. My mom walks over to the cooler that's right next to the chair. There was a rattlesnake curled up underneath the chair that I was sitting in just all afternoon.
Shade.
Wow.
And my mom was like, snake. The best part about that's not even the best part of the story. The best part of the story is that my dad has some anger issues. So the snake goes to get away from people, goes straight underneath the camper with the gravel, and my dad just wasn't going to have any of that. So he's got a 2x4 and he keeps trying to smash it as it's going. It makes it underneath the camper. So then my dad takes this 2x4 and starts crawling. He's a big guy. He doesn't even fit out of the camper. He starts crawling underneath the camper with the 2x4 to try and kill that bleepity bleep snake. And it's I'm peeking down because I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's hissing and trying to get away, and my dad is trying to crush its head with the 2x4 but he's up against the tire is what he's using as the other surface to try and do the snake. So it's just bouncing.
So it's just a massage.
So it's the snake is getting more and more pit. It's you can tell the snake is not having fun, but it's getting more and more pissed as it goes. My dad's string of profanity just gets louder and louder and stronger as this goes on. Finally, the game fish and parks in that park show up, and of course it's usually it's just two college students who are there for this. So just two kids from probably from Pier come down with their little kit to get the snake and take its head and all that stuff, and so they're standing there looking at my dad's feet sticking out underneath the camper as he's just sir, we're here now. We can handle the snake. We can. Can you let us get the snake, sir? And just goddamn motherfucker, just wham, wham, wham. You just hear this 2x4 up against the tire and this rattling and hissing and striking underneath. And it's just my dad just locked in Mortal Kombat with this rattlesnake, and these poor two little park rangers just sir, can you come out from underneath the camper so we can get the snake? I'm just Jerry, let them get the goddamn snake.
Oh, wow. I haven't ever had a close run-in with a rattlesnake, other than, going to see one at Reptile Gardens or something like that, but did have to deal with garter snakes in our house. So,
ew, that's
creepy.
That's not cool.
It sucks. Once they're there, they never are gone. You can kill them all, but they're not actually all dead. So.
Yeah, if they've got a warren nearby, they're gonna just keep coming because there's 1,000 of them in reserve.
I had a cat, but the cat did not go after snakes.
Yeah, it's the word they use for it is
a coven, but a warren.
It's like a warren. It's similar to the word they use for an underground hole for rabbits.
Okay.
Rabbit
Yeah.
warren?
So it's like
how's it spelled?
Snake den?
W-A-R-R-E-N. A warren.
something like that. I'd have to Google
I
it.
don't think
But
any of us are qualified.
No, probably not. I'm probably talking. I probably saw a thing on History Channel like Ancient Aliens where they mentioned that word, and that's what I'm getting it from.
Yes, warrens. I feel like it would be really remiss to not know the end of this battle, though.
They finally got him calmed down enough that he got out of there. The snake finally tried to make an escape out the other side, and then the park rangers were just right there waiting for it and snipped its head. And
are you kidding me? So it survived this entire battle?
Oh yeah,
getting its head beat against a tire for an hour, and then it crawls out, and these high kids kill it.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure it was pretty tenderized because I saw its head just get wham, wham, wham over and over again with the 2x4 up against the tire. It's just it's probably animal cruelty at that point.
Sir, we have to arrest you now for
mercilessly beating that snake to death.
That makes me make a good callback. That makes me think of Frank. My father died the same way. He sees him getting stampeded by the marching band. He's like, oh, it's horrible, Frank. My father died the same way. And the look on Leslie Nielsen's face.
Everything in those films is pretty much perfect. We could probably just do this podcast on that.
Oh, absolutely. Leslie Nielsen, yes.
I actually got to meet him once. He's one of the only celebrities that I got to meet. We were that same trip to California I was talking about was with a bunch of foreign exchange students because we hosted a bunch of them, and then when a bunch of our exchange students got to go on this special organized trip to tour the West Coast so that they can see parts of America and the culture and stuff, the host students from America can also go with on the trip if we pay our way. So parents sent me too, and so yeah, when we were Beverly Hills, our group got to meet Leslie Nielsen, and then the group of Swedish girls ran into Meg Ryan. And this is 1999, so it's this is prime Meg Ryan.
It is. Yeah, this is You've Got Mail, Meg Ryan.
Yeah, that era. So it was a big deal.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But no, it was very cool and very friendly, especially for how aggressive the Japanese exchange students were with picture, just swarming him. So yeah, it was. But it's I'm sure for somebody like that, he's just I've done this before. I know what the score is.
Yeah, I suppose by then you either have found a way to deal with it, or you have a reputation where people know you probably shouldn't take pictures with that one.
Yeah, that's true. I like that we're running the gamut of just crazy stories. It's fun.
That's kind of what this podcast is. Is just we don't just say randomness for fun. It's really what we do. It's tangents.
It's accurate. It's not just a.
It's truth in advertising. It's our motto, and we live by it.
Well, I'm trying to think of what other fun anecdotal things can we tell to entice people to come.
To entice people to come.
Tell us more stories of misery. Did you guys have to sleep outside ever in tents, or
for an independent film, it was actually pretty. There was some misery behind the scenes, mostly with the production side. But as far as the shooting of the film went, for an independent film, pretty good.
Nice.
Producers put out fires. They put out fires, and most of the time we didn't. The artists didn't even know it was happening. So that good producing.
Yeah.
That was nice. They actually did something on this one, which I thought was, at first I was like, I don't like that. But it ended up being a blessing, and I'll probably do it forever now. But they had a rule for the crew that, and Adam's a project manager, that's what you do. And he's all about, and you could say this stuff, but, well, maybe you don't know where I'm going with this, but he's all about organization and creating a workflow that works for everybody and sort of any mutual respect, and everybody can do their jobs. And so he had this rule that at first I thought was weird because I'm fairly I like to be friends with everybody, blah, blah, blah. And he had this rule on set where nobody could talk to the director unless it was through the assistant director. I could talk to people, but in the same rule with the actors, like just don't bother them, let them work. And at first I'm like, well, that's kind of creates weird hierarchical.
No eye contact.
Yeah, like Eddie Murphy has like a no eye contact clause in his things, but
start every sentence. This is the director speaking.
But then he like made this thing. He's like, trust me, you're gonna love it. This isn't about like creating you're better than them. It's about letting everybody do their work, right? Mm-hmm. And it ended up being this amazing thing where we get on set in the morning, and I could just focus. And I like just play like opera music and walk around the set, and I'm a weirdo. And then the actors and everybody's got their own thing. Like Bates is like just smoking a cigar or something, and Jess would just sit in the corner quietly and yawn. I'm kidding now. They're both great people, and then everybody else was doing the work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's why you're doing it. Because then the art guy's there prepping the props for the day and like building something, and the cinematographer, the camera crew, they're prepping the camera, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, this makes sense now. And of course, it created an atmosphere where we could just talk to each other, but it was done in a way that there wasn't any goofing off. We were all there to make a piece of art. And nice. Knew that in the long game, we have 20 days to shoot this. We have to get it done. Like, at the end of it, we'll get drunk and it'll be fun, And we did exactly that.
I think that's an interesting thing about, especially indie film. But everybody on set, I'm sure this is the same on studio films, but everybody on set thinks that they know how to make the best film, and everybody on set wasn't hired to do that. They were hired to do their job, and the director's job is to direct.
Specialization.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it has to work as an orchestra, for sure, but there's one conductor. Now, the tuba player can't be like, listen, I got a better idea on how, I don't know what songs you use tubas in.
What if we do it?
Probably not anything from Mozart, but...
Fanfare.
So one of those. Like, the tuba player can't be like, listen, I think we should cue the tuba earlier. I'll cue the tuba when I cue the tubas. And if you don't set those sorts of rules, especially for Andrew, he does get along with everybody. It also creates this unfortunate sort of line of least resistance for getting information. Like, well, I'll just ask Andrew. And so pretty soon, if Andrew knows everybody on set, everybody likes him, everyone on set will just ask him the questions instead of going through somebody else who manages information, like the assistant director. That's their job. So it's kind of an awkward line to draw in the sand, but it wound up being really valuable. And I think it does play out in the final product. I think that the story is really good and the actors did a great job. And so did everybody else.
Yeah, it allowed everybody to do their best. I think that comes through in the final product.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Sioux Empire Podcast proudly presents this week's Shameless Plugs.
So, Adam and Andrew, here's the part where you can get up on your soapbox and you can plug anything. So you can plug this film, all the events, social media. Even we have people who come for one thing and then plug another thing during this. This is plug away about what you want people to know and how they can follow you, etc.
So yes, I should have had this queued up. First off, if you want to know more details about the movie, go to Facebook or Instagram. Facebook is type in Tater Tot Patton. We took out the ampersand for social media. And you should find it, and you'll be able... There's a lot of events for each town that we're going to be in, so you can join those Facebook events. And it'll tell you the dates that we're playing, and also my Q&A dates, all that jazz. And please add as you see fit. And our Instagram is at Tater Tot Patton. I mean, people should just go see the movie. It's a fun movie. It's playing at all these movie theaters like a regular movie would. I know we're up against Captain Marvel, and that sucks, but, counter-programming.
If you're tired of Captain Marvel.
If you're tired of comic book movies, come see our movie. Are we, though? I don't think we are. I just plugged Marvel. They don't need more plugging.
People aren't listening to me like, oh, the Captain Marvel movie is showing.
I was going to go to the Cinedome. I didn't know Captain Marvel was coming out.
Oh, shit, that's today?
And when we're, because it's the Sioux Empire, well, I guess that constitutes everything. That constitutes Mitchell.
It's extremely usefully vague.
Okay.
So I just go with South Dakota. Basically.
Okay, great. So, specifically in Sioux Falls, like I said, we're screening the 8th, 9th, and 10th of March, only 7 p.m. shows. And that's just that weekend. If a lot of people show up, hopefully we maybe play the next weekend. We'll see. We're also trying to book at West Mall too, but we'll see how that happens. And then March 9th, I'll be doing a Q&A after the 7 p.m. show, and then we're having an after party at the Fernson place downtown. So people come to that. There'll be a meet and greet and just general beer drinking fun. And then, just all over the state. Like, just pay attention to those Q&A times if you want to come and see me wax about stuff. What else is there to... We're going to be doing a lot of press all week. And Kello, KDLT, KSFY, a lot of radio stations all over the state, newspapers. And if you want to buy tickets, usually you can just show up to those movie theaters and buy them at the box office. The Pavilion, you can go to the Pavilion website. They're on sale actually as of today. You can buy tickets for them today. I think that for that, otherwise, support the actors. Go see Happy Death Day to You. It's just as good as the first one. What else is there to
Go see this movie first.
Go see this movie first, of course.
If you like a good indie film with some quirky storyline, great acting, good storytelling.
It's a fun movie. Have any of you seen it yet?
I have not.
No? Oh, I should have sent you a link.
Yeah.
We'll cut you. Yeah, it's better on the big screen, but I can send you a link too. Can't send everybody a link. Viewers, just the people in this room. I think it's a good movie. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's hopeful in the end, which I think we need more of in the world.
There is nudity.
There is, You should know that it's rated R for language, drug, alcohol abuse, and a brief scene of comedic nudity. Which Bates hates when I say that, because he's like, what's funny about my penis? Well, it's pretty funny.
Where should we start?
Male nudity. It's always funny.
Very non-sexual, but male nudity.
Yeah. Which Adam wanted me to cut desperately, and I was like, no.
Completely useless.
It actually has a lot of reasoning to be there. On that note, we're done plugging.
And on that note, Natasha, any shameless plugs this week?
We'll just pick me at, Spot 2000 again. Yay.
Very good. Seth, you got anything for us this week?
I would like to thank the both of you for coming on the podcast, meeting me in person. If you guys haven't listened to my interview with Andrew from a year ago, or I don't know, man, it's been a while.
It was a year ago because my dad's in Madagascar now. He joined the Peace Corps.
Oh.
And he actually listened to that interview in Madagascar.
Oh, that's
just
cool.
Kind of fun. Yeah. Like in the middle of nowhere in a little village. Yeah.
Good.
It took him forever to download. He had to go 3 hours to get Wi-Fi.
Yeah, satellite connection.
Actually, a huge fan of the podcast now.
Sioux Empire.
That might not be true.
We love it. They sit there every Sunday reading it, listening.
The Air Up There, isn't that a movie where?
Oh yeah.
Never mind.
Or Galaxy Quest.
And then Rob, I'm gonna shamelessly plug you. Thanks, buddy, for putting this show on, and thanks for picking my fiance's 2 stories for 2 episodes of Edgecast. Edgecase.
Yep.
Jeez, I always anyway. But that's what do you got for shameless plugs, Rob?
Well, thank you very much, and that will segue nicely into my shameless plug for Edgecase, our horror sci-fi anthology podcast. We just cast the narrator, so you're going to get a trailer here in the next week or so.
Because you're always casting, that's why. Okay, never mind, go ahead.
I'm always casting for it. Someday, it actually comes out, and we're announcing soon.
Casting will close, and then the cases begin.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But the big casting call locally here will kick off in about 2 weeks. So, hold your emails until I've got that form in place. I made the mistake of putting out a general call a year ago when I was starting to plan this of would anyone around here even be interested in something like that? Because I was sitting here I'll go on Fiverr and find some voice actors, I guess.
Right.
And I just put out the call, and just my Gmail inbox was just a free fire zone for like 2 months afterwards. I was just like, not yet. I just wanted to know if people want to do this.
I'm at your house now. When can we start?
Headshots. I got people who sent like portfolios and headshots. It's an audio drama, and I'm getting headshots.
Picture in my throat.
Got a strong neck.
You gotta watch out with that. When we did Dust of War, the first feature we produced together, which was like a sci-fi thing, we put out casting calls, and I actually like kind of anticipated. I was like, oh my god, like my Gmail is gonna be insane. So we created not I don't know.
We got some fake casting.
I created a fake casting director, and then a fake Gmail account. I think it's still live.
It is. We get emails, I think, once in a while.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and it's just like and I thousands of people submitted, and for like roles, like the role was like 20s female, brown hair, something.
Yeah.
And then,
Extreme background.
Yeah, and then like a 50-year-old, like 60-year-old black woman would submit a tape. Like, but that's not what we're looking for this character. But thank you.
Yeah.
It was funny.
But being a web design nerd, what I've been doing is building a form for each one of these casting calls and let them fill that out. And I'm like, no, I just direct them to the form. If you're not in the form, you don't count. So that's helped a lot.
That's a good angle.
Yeah. But anyway, we're getting super excited about that. That'll be premiering this fall. Like Seth said, his lovely fiance submitted 2 of the stories that we picked for this season 1, 14 episodes.
Awesome. That is really neat. Cool. Edge Case. Fantastic. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I hope so. And let's see. Please help support the Sioux Empire podcast and the work we do to help bring you local original content and voices. You can do that at patreon.com/Sioux Falls. And as always, a huge thank you to Patreon patron Matt Paulson. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Andrew and Adam, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for doing the show. This is amazing. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you. And Seth and Natasha, thanks for being here. And we will see you all next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.